What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Bigfoot Zone ECBRO. And for those who are maybe new to this, we're live here, but all this gets uploaded to the radio platform, ECBR Bigfoot Radio. And if you're an ECBR Bigfoot Radio fan, hey, thank you for being a fan and thank you for being a follower. Uh, Please, I really encourage you guys to share our content, subscribe to YouTube channel Bigfoot Zone ECBRO, and share the radio content. Share the link to our radio platform. Our radio platform has been slowly growing, and we love it. It reaches a very wide, broad audience. YouTube is slowly getting there, and also, we have the live chat open up. We got people on the live chat right now. Um, so yeah, we're going to be watching the live chat like we always do. If there's questions or anything you want to share, any feedback, it's most definitely welcome. As of right now, we are waiting on our guests to show up. I'm going to bring in David and Melissa. They're sitting backstage. Um, I've already sent messages to my guests, both on text message and Facebook. You can send me links. So he's running behind. I don't know what he's doing, but we're going to get started regardless. So here's David and Melissa. Hey guys, what's up, guys? How you guys doing tonight?
Oh, great. It's Friday night. Hello, everyone.
Doing okay.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'll bring up the live chat. Awesome. There's the live chat. We got several people jumping on. I'm glad to have you guys again. Thank you guys for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed last night. We had fun last night. I think that was very interesting. Yeah. How do you guys think last night went?
A lot of good points was brought up last night. A couple of points I didn't even think about.
Okay. They hold on. What's that? Oh, I don't know what happened.
Hello again.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what happened there. I got a message from Todd. He wants me to send them the link again.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. I was just saying that they brought up a couple of points last night that I never even gave consideration for, Nikki and them. Right. You got to look at locations where everybody does their own research at, because locations are different. You have to take things into account. And I haven't really looked at it from that aspect, because, I mean, we're focused on what we're doing here in our area, but when people talk about what they agree or not agree with people in other locations, that's one of the things they need to look at, what kind of environment that they're working in.
Right.
Good information last night. Very good information.
Yeah, I mean, we went in a lot of different directions, which I like that. You know, a lot of people like to stay on one point for a while, which we did. I think we did good on that. We covered. I think we covered a lot of bases and touched a lot. A lot of areas, which I thought that was very interesting.
And we still didn't cover everything, and we was on 3 hours.
Yeah, we were. Yeah. Because when last night when it got done, I tried to upload the audio version to my radio platform. It took me a while, and I was like, it was getting late. I was like, yeah, I'm tired. So first thing I did this morning when I got up, I said, let me do it this morning, because what happened was I had to convert my audio. My audio file was too large. I had to compress it just to get it up to the radio platform. So, yeah. So, hey. There he is. Let's bring him in here.
See you guys better.
Hey, there you are.
Bigger screen, so I have to do the old man two glasses thing.
So do I. Pleasure to meet you, Todd.
Done that.
Nice to meet you. Bear with me a minute. I'm trying to get big screen here going.
Oh. Are you on your phone or your? Oh, hold on. He'll be back here in a second. I'll watch him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now having technical difficulties. Please bear with us here. Don't go anywhere. Just stand by.
And he's back. There we go.
All right.
I mean, you're pretty large on our end. I mean, on my end anyway.
It's bigger on my iPhone over here, and that's what I was trying not to do, is torture myself looking at the small screen. And I forewarned you that I'm technically challenged here.
And, not a problem at all. I think we all are in some ways.
Yeah. gosh, I would think I could get that screen bigger. Well, I'm going to roll with it the way it is.
Okay. Yeah. What device are you on?
Well, I'm on an iPad 12 Pro. So your image is this big. And I was trying to look at something larger than my iPhone, which is
Oh.
a lot bigger. And I haven't figured that part out.
Oh.
I've
Well.
never done it this way before, and I'm experimenting.
Okay.
But,
Well, I mean, again, you look good on my end. I mean, the viewing. I mean, yeah, you're
hey,
very
that's
clear
all
looking.
that matters, right?
Yeah, I hear you pretty good, so that's a
I
good
was
thing.
gonna ask, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, Dave and Melissa, you hear that? You hear him okay?
Loud and clear.
All right.
All right.
Very good.
Job. All right. Well, I tell you what, we will definitely go ahead and get started. Well, Todd, I'm going to go ahead and put you on the spot here. If you want to give the audience, for those who may not know you, a little background on you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, what got you started with the whole Bigfoot research to begin with?
Just curious by nature as a kid. Leonard Nimoy, you know. Really what started it was like 2010, 11, looking for some hunting property to buy for lease, and I hooked up with this timber company that would lease property, and you put your camper on it, you hunt it, it's like yours to use for a certain amount. So I've had a back injury, I've broken my neck, and I talked the guy into letting me use a four-wheeler so that if you're a hunter, you can scout things fast, and once you've learned and opened your eyes to Bigfoot and the sign that they leave, you can scout that fast. So I get a bunch of addresses. I put the four-wheeler in back of the F-350, and I'd had Southern Tier, New York. I'm a Western New York guy, and the tour of these properties. Well, while that was going on, the episode from Les Stroud, we loved watching Survivor Man, was on with Todd Standing with these tree structures. So I'm a gun. I started seeing it. And I was covering some acreage. And I started seeing these, and I found my true structure that I just could not explain away. I mean, I live up in the snow belt, lake effect area. I'm an outdoor guy, used to snowmobile. I'm still a trail groomer, but cross country ski. Point is, I know what happens, what snow load does and doesn't do, and these tree structures. We started joking about it. Oh, Bigfoot was there. I hate Bigfoot was there. Well, we started checking into it because we're scouting for deer, and Bigfoot's no different than learning to be a young hunter of learning the deer track, learning a buck track, learning what scat looks like, learning what a big buck scat looks like. You're reading the sign, knowledge grows and grows and grows. Well, I started seeing an awful lot of this. Then it's like, now we're Bigfooting. Once we found that tree structure, and we're getting tree knocks, got howls, we got a track. I'm still on that quest for property to buy or release. So I ended up finding this place on Craigslist. I don't even know how many acres this farm was. I still haven't covered all of it, but it's south of Wellsville. And down there is your Appalachian Plateau. So you have a lot of serious hills, valleys, ravines that were sheared off by the glacier. And so you have these hilltop farms. And I found this beautiful place, the acreage. I remember my son saying, "Dad, aren't you glad we didn't see any sign of Bigfoot here?" Referring to the tree structures. He's like, "Yes, I am." Well, it took a couple weeks for us to eat those words. And we should have known the first night we were there, this place south of Wellsville, Allegheny County, New York, So, and it borders Potter County, PA. It's the old homestead, 1868, but nobody's lived up there since the 70s. But the farmer comes up, tends to his herd of Black Angus up there periodically. And so we get the toy hauler all set up. My son's making a fire, putting some venison burgers on, and we asked the property owner, "Hey, Jim, why don't you stay for a burger?" It's just starting to get dark. This is like September. He's walking over his truck, says, "Oh, no, I'm out of here before dark." I'm like, "I just gave you a check for $4,000. I would think I would get full disclosure." I'm like, "What?" Plus, I got these two 17-year-old boys. It's like, I could just tell by this guy, tough guy, no nonsense, farmer. Just, he's out of there before dark. Why? And he's going over to his truck. He's trying to pull the truck door closed. I'm trying to pull it open. We're wrestling back and forth. Why? Place just spooks me. Place would be all right if it wasn't for all the damn ghosts. Slams the door shut and kind of cracks a smile because he won that door opening and closing contest and drives off. And he mentioned the funny lights and the strange sounds. What the hell's that? So we put up a bunch of tree stands, a bunch of different areas. They had a large maple sugar operation there years ago. So I brought my tractor down. I got a nice sized tractor, and I was clearing the old sugar roads. And we were able to get around, and we'd bring the four-wheelers down and keep them there, and we were having a lot of fun. We do a lot of riding. Believe it or not, in the middle of nowhere. People have this vision of New York that is not correct. This Western New York is very rural, very conservative. The people are very different. We're more like Western New York's probably closer to Texas than it is, New York City wise.
Oh yeah, Western New York, a lot of hills and mountains up there. I used to travel up.
We do.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah. And I'll tell you what, right outside New York City. So I'm in the orchard and vineyard supply business, and so if you need a deer fence, I'd be the guy you call if you got a deer problem. But I mean, miles. And that Hudson Valley, boy, we did a lot of work down there. And those people down there, you don't see four-wheel drive trucks, camouflage, ATVs. They're New York City people. They don't go in the woods. And I'll tell you that's historic area, that Hudson Valley. Champlain goes back with reports, Rogers Rangers with reports. Anyhow, back to Western New York. And our first encounter coming down there, as we would pull down, there'd be this one large open field, few hundred acres. As soon as I'd clear that, I'd hit it with a spotlight, just kind of inventorying deer. Saw these, we thought they were brake lights to a four-wheeler, a few hundred yards away, but it was too high. It's like, what the heck? What is that? And I just kind of cracked my wrist to the left, got the eye shine of a deer, went back to the right, it was gone. Next day, I was hunting right down there. Now, like I said, I'd had some serious spine injuries, and I just had my neck surgery not long before that. So there's times where I'm not climbing tree stands, not walking real far. And I was fortunate to have two very tough 17-year-old boys into hunting and to help me out. And well, since they were both there, and I'd set up tree stands on that valley, and that valley is secluded, runs north to south, which is unique in this area. A lot of hemlock. Gosh, when I drove that valley, it's a seasonal road. It's like, this is freaking squatchy as I drove that. Plus, I read the DEC report, and every 3 years they do a survey, and it's the best or largest native brook trout stream in New York. but it's not known because of the inaccessibility. Well, I had the accessibility to it because it was all posted and that farm owned it. And so we got the fish and, well, had tree stands set up along that ravine. And you know how it is when you arrow a deer, it's going downhill. And it was a hell of a drop off. And it's like, since I had the two boys there, decided we're gonna hunt those stands. And we're a few hundred yards apart. The one fella's actually turkey hunting. My son's yelling distance to me, 150 yards, bow hunting. I'm actually in Pennsylvania, so I'm crossbow hunting, not real far from the four-wheeler. This little clearing, kind of like a food plot. And, well, from the valley, I hear this whoop. Well, this is October. It's the first snow, so the wind would blow. It would lay down. There'd be a snow squall. It would lay down. Well, started hearing these rocks clacking. The rocks clacking only did that when there was no wind. And that whoop, I kind of giggled to myself. Man, if I had ever heard a Bigfoot whoop, I'd swear that was, but it's got to be somebody's beagle that's bawling and the valley's manipulating the sound. Well, not long after that, these things start. This is hindsight now. They're doing an organized deer drive, and they're whooping, they're rock clacking back and forth to one another. We're all texting each other. You hearing that? You hearing that? And tree knocks, and some of us are hearing the same thing. Some of us aren't hearing the same because we're spread out. Then the owls started. And then the owls got really bad, like complacent, like a really bored 600-pound owl. We kind of knew about that. We're joking about that bored owl. Then the owl, as this is all getting closer to us, coming up out of the valley, turns into a chicken. Bark, bark. Well, my son raised chickens. He was out of there on the chickens. I didn't know that part. It morphed then into the one near me, into pig, going oink, oink. Now, about a mile away was a large pig operation that we could see across the valley, but the entire time there, never heard them and never saw them because it's an indoor operation. It's a kind of a commercial farming operation. Never heard them or anything. I had to stay. This is so curious because I felt like we were in the middle of an organized deer drive, and I don't leave my stand until after dark, and so by the time I got back up to the toy hauler, every single piece of firewood that I brought down for that weekend is ablaze. We were going to sight in the rifles. They're all lined up on the camper, loaded up, and these boys are wide-eyed. And I'm like, "Hey, boys, what do you think we're dealing with?" And it was like this admission of guilt. I mean, we stood around the fire and we all kind of like silence, looked at each other, and all of a sudden, all of us blurted out at the same time, "A Bigfoot." And so to this day, absolutely, I've researched this. This has been 2014. I've been monitoring this. It's so special to me. They do an organized deer hunt there where, honestly, I wish I had a drone like each winter to photograph the area, compare year after year, because the way that the trees would be pushed down in the same direction to this kill box, which was like this geographical advantage. And one of my hobbies is I'm into archaeology, primitive man, primitive hunting. So my mind works with, hey, what if I could have some friends, I could communicate, had some basic weapons. How could I kill as many deer as possible with lowest risk, least amount of calories for the greatest yield? And right where the valley drops off, there's this little creek wash, and it turns into like this hole. And the fence actually was a double fence in this hole. And the farmer was telling me one of his stories was there hadn't been any animals up on that farm in decades. He'd only been crop farming it. It used to be animals up there. So it gets overgrown. When it gets overgrown, you bring sheep in. Sheep will clean up your hedgerows. They like poison ivy. You got 185 head of sheep up there. And in less than a year, I found I remember it was 5 or 6 sheep left alive. And they'd be killed in these swaths. And in this box piled in. Not saying it was Bigfoot, but it made a whole lot of sense. If I was early man, everything lined up. The deer yard up there. So up where we would have the camper, the farmer would haul up all these round bales, winter inventory to feed his cattle up there. And so this time of year when things are hard, the deer just yard up and just eat those round bales. I mean, I would drive right up and the deer hardly run off. And, the position, the prevailing wind, the terrain, and everything was beneficial for these creatures to start nudging them and start this organized drive. When they got down towards the end, hence why these trees are pushed down opposite of the prevailing wind direction. Not saying it couldn't have been a storm, but conveniently it points to now what I call the kill box. So this bothered me. I had to go through another back surgery, and I'd lay there and I'd think about it. I'd get on Google Earth maps, and it's like if they're doing what I think that they're doing. I don't know if you guys are hunters. You guys are hunters, and you go back old school. Remember when we used to do deer drives? And as the young guy, you'd be the one that would be sent in. Okay, go down the hedgerow. There, you'll see a big oak tree. Take a right, and you stand there. And we're gonna do a drive, and you better be in that position, for that close. Well, this area was perfect for a close, especially if you were an ambush predator. And interesting what I would find, and I always monitor, cobble. Love finding this cobble on leads. And I was down there with David Pilates. I pointed that out to him. You notice the amount of this cobble behind this, like I call it hasty works. So it's a blind that they make. I call it a hasty works from being an old Civil War reenactor. And there's a barbed wire fence, and these things are jumping over the barbed wire fence into position of this blind, and that's where this close takes place. And I always find this cobble on the other side of the. I mean, it just makes perfect sense. It's ammunition, especially if you're going to kill as many animals as you can. Primates throw. So back to GPS map, sitting there thinking about all winter. So finally, when I'm able to walk again, I go down. It's like, so if my theory is true, I should find hair on that fence in that spot. And I go down there. To this day, I pull hair off those barbs. The same place, four-side in, where they're hopping into position. And what's really neat, on my YouTube channel, you can see the seasons and years, spring, fall, And through the years, this one wild cherry tree with the barbed wire to it, and these clumps of blonde hair that I would get off of it. And you could tell that there's obviously a blonde haired creature there, but that is where that creature hops the fence and closes it. Another thing that I observed too with that immediate area, it's always in the shadow. There's a stand of hemlocks there. These things are all about the shadows. And additionally, that fence, when you go to hop that fence, there's no brush above you. So in other words, they can move fast and in. So since 2014, that has been prolific with hair. My YouTube channel, you can see some of my earlier, you'd have to scroll down the list because I got a couple hundred videos of in the snow where some things come right up to the fence. One parts the fence, goes through, you can kind of see an elbow and stuff like you would go through barbed wire. The other ones go over the top of it, and the tracks start and stop on each side of the fence. But it's fluffy snow. We get that lake effect snow that doesn't leave good prints. So it's like kicking through feathers. You know what I mean? You can just tell something big bipedal walked here right up to the fence and crossed it, and the hair is right there. And got one with a real nice flesh tag. Doug Hychek has that. There's been changes down to the kill box. That double fence is washed out. And what's really neat to observe is how they still use the area, but they keep adapting to it and modifying the environment to their benefit. The boneyard's right there. You know, every farm's got a boneyard. And so when there's a dead cow, he drags them down there. I haven't found a track there because usually when I go down there, there's just so many tracks around those dead cows that you can't tell anything. One of these days I will. They are Black Angus. So, you know, to do a comparison, I'd come up to a dead Black Angus cow, and the longest hair would be on the end of its tail, and I've pulled that, you know, as a comparison. And this hair that I pull off this fence is
me too.
It's black. You know, it would be clear almost, gray, kind of molten, kind of like a coyote color, auburn. That blonde is compelling. And some of it's 18 inches long, and you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see me collecting a ton of it, and it's the same area consistently. So to me, behavior wise, that's one of the cool things is finding this kill box. And like right now is a great time of year to go down because they're going to utilize that more because the deer yard up there, you know. Okay, questions so far? That's just on the organized hunting.
Well, that kill box makes a little bit of sense you're talking about. We had a guest the other night that was telling us an incident where they were fishing and they thought they may be approaching an area that was being controlled by Bigfoot for fishing, and they were fishing at a spot where it looked like it had been rocked off. When they started fishing there, they started getting all this commotion in the wood line behind them and stuff like that. Like, you know, you're in our spot,
Yeah,
they better move on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And William brought up a good point too. I never thought about that taking of rocks and stuff like that, and maybe even certain types of tree knocks. They might even use that as besides communication, echolocation.
Precisely is what they were doing. I think what was happening to us was there was closers behind me that knew that we were there, but the ones coming up the valley did not know. And that's literally when they started the tree alarm, pow, 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 pow on the tree. But in the beginning, there's one thing I've noticed with these creatures, very subtle, is the closer they are, the more subtle the communication. Hence the rock clacking. Sorry about that.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, notifications.
It's okay.
That I hypothesize that I think we all can agree that there's something exceptional with their vision, right? There's something exceptional with their hair, because when I take their hair and I put it under a microscope and cut it's hollow, and I can put a UV light on it and illuminate the whole thing purple. Some of them will be sometimes like yellowish green. It's kind of neat. But let's pretend this. We've all experienced where they triangulate on us, and it's not on accident. And they do that so that, when you're starting to see the one thinking it's over there, getting a little too close, all of a sudden that tree breaks over there. You look that way, and they're gone. Well, let's pretend that they had this exceptional vision. Their hair is exceptional, so allowing them to see each other. So it'd be like us wearing blaze orange. I could be in my street clothes 20 yards off the main road. If I'm just still, you drive by, you wouldn't see me. But if I had my blaze orange clothes on 20 yards off the road, you're going to see me. So they triangulate on us, and the closer they get to us, that's the more subtle, the little tree cracks, or the rock clacking, the smaller sounds. I think they do that until they're to a point where they can, like I say, physically can see each other. At that point, think of it as it. Gosh, I'm trying to turn this down. All it's doing is taking pictures. Anyways,
I hear it clicking. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And that's how they escape us and get away from us. And there is never one. The one you see is maybe being allowed to be seen for a reason. How many times have you had them in the thermal trying to figure them out? But yet it's cold, and because of the stress, you can't feel the record button. And before you can do that, there's a tree smack behind you that you know that you're not supposed to turn around and look, but you just gotta. You start in our instinct and you turn around, and of course there's nothing there, and you turn back with your thermal. Oh, those two horizontal heat signatures are gone. And then the next day, when you go to that spot looking for any evidence, you find a feather. You guys were talking about that last night. This feather I have found where you have an incident overnight, and you go in the daylight to check it out where you think it was, and there's a feather. The feather could be just at random, but there's just something about that big feather. It might be a raven feather, might be a blue jay, bluebird. Those are the three usually, and it'll be right in that spot. It could be coincidence, but so what I've done opposite when I invade their space, because that's one thing I like doing, and not to pat myself on my back, but I think I'm good at is finding that spot where they observe us from. And And when I find that spot, and I'm certain that they're using that spot for multiple reasons, because of the compression behind that tree. And incidentally, when you stick your head, it's usually your right eye around that tree, you just ironically have this tunnel view to somebody's kitchen window or something. I leave a yellow rubber chicken, and I'll write on it with marker. I'll date it and stuff. I got a big bag of them, and they disappear. What I've gotten back has been a yellow rubber ducky. I've gotten back a little bluebird. So I kind of do that as a peace offering. It's like, I was in your space. I found your blind. I'm giving you this. Hopefully they know and appreciate what I'm doing, and having a little sense of humor with it, and thinking that, they might get a kick out of it. Yeah, I wish that they were a little bigger, but I got a big bag of them, on Amazon. I have done that's really interesting. My Allegheny Forest, PA study site that's really got most of my attention now. Grandma, Grandpa Bigfoot's what I call them. They're the nicest couple, older folks. They're like family. I was there for Thanksgiving. I've been there for my birthday. It's where I like to be, and it's the easiest Bigfooting. I mean, you can go with your slippers on because they come up to the house. So I was down there one weekend, and they were cleaning out this shed. So I'm helping them, and they're cleaning out these Christmas decorations. And can I take some of these? And I would take those Christmas tree bulbs and put them in the woods, take a picture of it, so I have a geotag. They've all disappeared, but what's fun is periodically they show back up. Dave Wargo last year was down at the site visiting them, and had a nice handprint on his windshield, and then on the windshield wiper was one of those Christmas ornaments. Another one showed up. I haven't nailed it down exactly, but I almost think it was Christmas Day or Christmas Eve when it showed back up, which I don't know. That could be just coincidence, So yeah, I got so much I can talk about. So you guys kind of directed me. I know I overloaded
you all lift that handprint?
Oh, I lift handprints. Yes, I do, and I've gotten pretty good at it.
Well, hey Todd, let me ask you a question. I got that video of you didn't
Yeah.
the drawing you put. You want me to share? Is that related to what you're about to talk about?
Sure.
All right, I'll tell you. Give me a second. I'll go ahead and pull that up for all of us. Yeah, that's one of the ones I do have up here. So give me a second. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. I think this one here is part of it. Hopefully, it plays okay for everyone.
Well, I'm going to declare this a good weekend of abundance.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Allergies are killing me. You guys saw those. The rear sliding glass door. Then I'm going to call this success. So I refer to this as gold because I collected it within an hour or so of the prints leaving the sebum. Got some nose action. I scrape it with a razor blade. I use the sterile cotton tip. These cotton tip applicators. I put them back in it. Document the provenance. There's more of it. I have samples to share with a couple open DNA studies, a documentary, universities, private funding.
I don't think the audio.
And this one's really cool. I've been working on this a long time. This is.
I hear it on my end.
Oh, that's just an old. Sorry, it's this file over here. Doug Hatchett gave me this idea because we were talking. Absolutely, there's something about this tinted glass that they like to touch, very tactile. They want to see what's in it, and they've been leaving handprints like this. So my buddy gave me some Luan. I made up 24 of these sheets. I have them here at my R&R site, Allegheny National Forest, Pennsylvania, and I have them deployed at my old hunting lease in Allegheny County, New York. So I was reaching for it. Did the graphic cartoon hands, and sure enough, and I placed these at a site where we've casted nice prints and had other activity. You can see where something put their hands in my hand, dragged them along. Not so much with the left, but definitely put their right hand, and it's white sebum. It's kind of like a paraffin. Traced it out. But more impressive was the Velcro worked, and got one hair, a white hair associated with it, right down at the end of it, kind of lining up where that little smear is. That's bagged and tagged and in that vial. Got the provenance with it. These were yesterday. Pretty cool. I did a DNA collection on them. And really creepy. I'm familiar with these things coming to this camper window, which I sleep on my right side, leaves me facing it, the emergency exit. I pull the blinds part way down, make them work for it, and very little ambient light in there. And sure enough, that's what this one print is leaning in the window, and had to look down under the visor to see me. And we're about media away from it. And actually, I've been closer. I've been leaning my head on the glass when they've come up inches to the other side. I didn't know it at the time. Somebody else did. They melted down. I would have too. It's just been a weekend of abundance. Good time. SOBs down from researcher from Toronto area, Dave Largo, and we're all blessed that I call them Grandma, Grandpa Bigfoot, open up their home to us because they have activity going on here all the time, and it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. Another part of my bogus adventures, and it keeps me out.
So that was. I found that very interesting. There. Now, how long ago was all that collected?
I think that was 2 years ago.
That was 2020.
Okay. I call that my weekend of abundance. I had a lot of action. So these handprints are the sliding glass door back of the house, and that's actual size. Those were there when I got there, but the other ones that were really compelling. So this is just kind of a close up that gives the thermal ridges. If you saw on that wood stove, what it was the camper that's in the driveway. I'll stay in that camper in the emergency exit window. This is where it all started. They come up, that tinted glass, they put their hands on it. Sometimes they stick their nose on it, and they got to see in it. Well, I was sleeping in that, so I pulled the shade halfway down to make them work for it. And why it was such a good handprint was they had a lot of sebum on their hand at the time, which I've noticed that changes, and I don't know why. But it was like it was leaning on the window, looking in for me, but I pulled the shade down, so I had to keep kind of lowering itself down and dragging these handprints. So when you saw those blank spots, kind of like here, where there wasn't good dermal ridges, that's where I did the razor scraping and, did the DNA collection. So I go through a process of documenting it, then collecting DNA, then I'll put material on it so it'll photograph better. And the biochromatics, and I'll lift the prints, and I'll tell you what's amazing. I don't know what's with these handprints, but like, for example.
Well, hey, before you go any further, Todd, there is a question on here from William Nighthawk.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Todd. He says, Todd, did you find heavy to medium oily residue on the handprints? Because he goes on to say, I've noticed that they are oily palms.
Yes, they are, and that's sebum. So it's got a taxonomy name, and that was Shelley Covington, Montana, and Doug Hyde came up with that. It's like a cosmoline oil. It's extremely durable. I mean, I've lifted handprints off that camper window, come back down there 2 months later, and go, wow, look at these handprints, and go to lift them again, and I'll start noticing my photos. Like, I already lifted these handprints. They're still there. I mean, they're difficult to clean off. So if you find handprints, don't be afraid. Talcum powder, starch, a decent tape. I recommend Gorilla Tape.
Gorilla Tape, okay.
Roll it on good. Then I put it on. What really shows up nice is when you put on the photographic copier paper, and I reposition them on there, and they come out nice. And there's one here where my truck cap, this is what started all of it. I had handprints before, but this is the emergency cancer exit window. And saw those on there, and I had to come up with something. I'm not leaving without trying to document these better. And they can be tough to photograph. So I just did, it's on my YouTube channel, I just did old-fashioned baby powder, and blew it off, and it photographs. And you can see the nose. So you saw in that one video with the dark acrylic, I put that out in the woods, and Doug hijacked this idea, and I put Velcro around it. And that particular
the one where you did put the hands up,
and yeah, it was my idea. Just being a smart aleck, I just just with a Sharpie, threw my hand on there, as like a prompting, a cueing. And you can see they did the handprint, but the Velcro worked. The Velcro captured the hair that corresponds with that. So that's what you see, that test tube with that. And then what you also will see in that is how I collect the DNA.
Hey, David, I think that would be a fun experiment for us to try somewhere. Mm-hmm. Just for the heck of it, it can't hurt,
Well, so you need to practice it. That way, situation comes up, we're not fumbling around trying to get stuff collected.
Mm-hmm. So that's the benefit I've had with this location. They do so many handprints. I've only become, I'm going to call myself good at it, is because I've had so many occasions to try and experiment, make mistakes, and improve. And at the end of the day, your brand new sterile razor with a hemostat, and you just kind of snow plow it, scrape it up, and you put it in a clean envelope. I'll use the rice envelopes. So you give the provenance. I'll tell you, trying to use a Q-tip and stuff, this stuff just pushes and smears around. It really doesn't work. I have
I do. While you gather now, I want to make a side note for those who might be listening on the radio platform. You're hearing us talk about the prints. We're actually showing images right now that Todd has produced. If you are curious on what these prints look like, refer to the link in the description of this episode on ECBR Bigfoot Radio. That will direct you to this YouTube video where you can watch the rerun, of course. So I do want to make that note because a lot of people that don't watch this live on YouTube they will be listening. So I want to direct people.
Yep.
Go, so check that out. This is interesting stuff. I'm finding it very fascinating.
Bigfoot New York Todd. And honestly, that only happened on accident because those original Ball of Light videos I have.
Which we'll be showing that shortly.
Yeah, I want to be able to share those with somebody. My employee said, "We'll make a YouTube channel," and he only did it as a password. Well, now it's kind of my name. So this is why I recommended this kit right here. They're cheap. So if you got like strep throat, they're gonna take you in. So what it allows me to do is you can light the carrot, easy to open.
Those look like the swabs that they use to do my COVID test.
Yes, sir. Yep.
up my nostril.
Yep. So I take a clean razor blade out of a pack, and I grab onto them with my hemostats, which aren't here right now. Grab onto them my hemostats, and then this stuff you gotta I snow plow, and I pick the stuff up, and I try to get an area that doesn't have good dermal ridges because I want to save that for the photograph. And then I'll collect this. Then I'll swab it off of this, and it'll allow me to break it and put it back in here, reseal it, and put the provenance on. Because I tried just using Q-tips and swirling this stuff. This stuff it's sticky, it's tough, it's a very interesting material. So just clean razor blades, and you make a little kit. I videotape myself as I do this, so if anybody's interested in my collection method and to determine whether worth investing in the DNA of it.
David and Melissa, you guys taking notes? Because David, you being retired law enforcement, I'll put you under forensic duty.
There you go. There you go. And I'll always do scale in the photographs. And there is a you can get a biochromatic lifting kit, but you really don't even need it. You do want to have, I like these good rice envelopes. They're for preserving photographs and stuff, and they're recommended for the DNA. But you want to have your hemostats clean, and that's what I grabbed the razor blade with, and then I snow plow and collect it off of the glass. Then I'll take the wipe, or I'll take the blade itself, and then drop it in the envelope, mark the provenance. But for hand lifting the kits, I actually have two of these boxes. Literally, Gorilla tape, a good, heavy, thick tape. There is 3M makes this forensic lifting tape that is fantastic. So So what I'll do is a photographic. I'll do my DNA collection of it, but I try to preserve the good dermal ridges of it. And then that's when I'll put the biochromatic dust on it. And I got all sorts of kind. And I really kind of like the ones that are fluorescent because you can hit it with UV light and then it just pops in a photograph. And then so these are a 4x6 strip, and then put them on, roll it, lift it, and I transfer it to your photographic copier paper, not paper. If you were to make a colored photograph copy with a nice gloss, I put it on that, and I put the image back together with that, and I'll photograph them in their state, but I'll tell you they're tough to photograph, and I always try to give a scale. But this place, my R&R study site is what I call it, and it's surrounded by Allegheny National Forest. She's a retired wildlife biologist. She's got a keen eye, but she's sick. They all have their serious physical challenges. I have photographs of their hands and comparisons, and I love his hand for the right hand comparison because he's missing the end of a finger. The other one's turned the other way. It's not him. She's got lupus. It's not her. I don't know what the attraction is to this location. It has all the perfect elements that allow the creatures to safely observe, but they interact. And so I work, let me back up. I got that audio clip. One that looks like it's a red handprint that starts with H eating outside the window. These things come up and they slap the house. When they hit this house, oh my God, it scares the shit out of you. I don't understand why they do that. They don't damage the house. I know the areas that they're slapping the house, I can't pick up a handprint.
Yeah.
But when they come up to the homeowner's bedroom window and put their hands on the glass or on the shutters or the siding, it leaves prints. I don't know how they're striking the house and not leaving any marks. I have not figured that out. So that audio, that was last March. And so I'm in the guest bedroom and I put the audio recorder out, open the window up, the recorder out, close the window, starts recording. You can hear me yawn. Use the CPAP machine. You can hear the CPAP machine just start. You can hear this thing move into position immediately. There's cobble in this landscape that I noticed that there'll be moss on everything else except the top of the cobble, just like we walk. And when you walk on that cobble, it makes a certain sound. You hear that in the audio. The deer's not going to do that. So this is March, the starvation time of year, and there's a rhododendron tree outside. You hear it snap that off. Now, you guys know rhododendron, right? Mm-hmm. If it's a deer does not need to break the branch off. I mean, that damn thing's already like a salad fork with the leaves on it. And that's what it's doing. It's breaking the branch off. You can hear it stuffing it in its mouth and then rolling it around from side to side chewing. And I have that other video on there of what an ape sounds like eating. It's the exact same way. And it's right underneath this window. You can hear me breathing with my CPAP machine. It came into position. I mean, I'm yawning. I'm just pulling the covers over my head. It's already moving into position between the house and the garage, a breezeway, with a dog kennel. No animal's going to box itself in there like that, especially when it can be surprised by multiple angles. And I had so many experiences there, but when I listened to that audio, it told me that these animals are so comfortable moving into position right under their windows, right at their doorways, right under their porch exit, that it's a matter of time before somebody feels cornered and there's an accident that's going to happen. And
speaking about audio, I do have one of your audio clips up here. It's mainly the whoops.
Okay.
The whoops. You mind if we go ahead and play that real quick?
Yeah, that's a collection of some this year so far. So
Okay.
I want to give Bill T, Logan credit for that.
This one here, the fitted on here, I did shorten it a little bit, but I got.
Yep.
Everybody will be able to hear the general sum of it. So
we got this place blanketed with cameras, 2 IRs, thermals, audio.
All right, hold on. Give me 1 second. All right, it should start any time now. Okay, to stop. Oh, let me play that again. Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, especially that long one. That was pretty extended there.
It was, and
Yeah.
what I really like, there's a couple of them where you can tell they're coming up right behind the camera, and they're doing it quietly, like they're serenading, you know. Whoop.
Yeah.
These things. So we work with this other audio I'd captured, and what it showed me how comfortable these things are coming right up outside your window, and they do it so frequently. I got to admit, it scared me for them. And I'd seen that podcast with it was in August, I believe, with Logan. I'm going to butcher his last name, Shahal. He's going to kill me for it. But he has a Bigfoot live stream. So he's got cameras up at Radium. And he was looking for an active location. And there's already a fella, JP from Canada, that is 6 or 8 years been doing camera traps down there. And he's a real critic. I mean, of his own stuff. He's gotten stuff I think's interesting, and he's like, nope, not clear enough, not evidence. So that's good. But these things are so close to the house, the slapping the house. I mean, this thing sat there and was like popcorn, breaking off branches and eating those rhododendron leaves. And if you look up, the medicinal benefit of rhododendron. You got to remember, this is March. That's like the desert time of year. And I was seeing the physical evidence of something coming up there doing that. That wasn't deer, because deer would just eat the leaves off. They're not breaking the branch off and sitting there like a popsicle, you know, eating it. And the recorders right there, they left a palm print above the recorder. they knew the recorder was there. They didn't care. It captured all sorts of tree knocks, whoops. I think a fart. And I have that audio I had sent over. And apparently apes fart while they eat. As a rule, I generally try not to, especially if I'm a guest. or blame it on the dog.
You got to do what you got to do, you know?
Right. So in hearing this and realizing this and experiencing the house slaps and things happening so close to the house, these people, I call them Grandpa Bigfoot, because they remind me of going to my grandparents' house for the weekend when I was like 10. They make you feel special. Love these people, and I was concerned, and I'd reached out to Logan. Logan was interested. Doug Highcheck put us together, but Grandpa Bigfoot really want to protect their privacy, and I understand that. And I gotta admit, I in my heart, for their best interest, I was doing some salesmanship to get those cameras there, because I felt like these things had lost respect and needed to be pushed back a little bit. And JP already had cameras going. That's a whole nother story of weird shit that happens with that. But Logan had a live feed, just better gear, and it's live. So in other words, when Grandma Bigfoot's hearing something on the porch, she's on the app, and there's a few seconds delay, but she's switching between cameras and seeing what's going on. And so I really do need to plug this. So it's Bigfoot live stream. It's an app, $5 a month. This costs Logan a ton of money. He's a computer engineer or whatever he is. He's a smart guy, good guy. We're capturing this stuff live, but we need more people looking. It's not about the $5 a month. Yeah, that helps them with the data storage, but the AI and stuff can only pick up so much. We need more people looking at that camera. And when you see something, there's a report, and you report, time, date. So Logan go back and he can review it better. We need help with that. And we were talking, you guys were talking about armchair researchers. We all know that if you look at the average age of the Bigfoot researcher, I'm over 60, and we're not young, but we still want to be part of this, and we need people's help. Adam Colt, who worked with Doug Highcheck Live, he's stepped in with the Wise camera system, helping us out. I want to. So we're not an organization at this place. We're all. Some people are an organization. I'm just me. But we all kind of come together at this location and peer review each other. So helping out is Mary Fabian, Dave Wargo, JP. He's John Paul, French Canadian name. Sorry, JP. His site's SOB though. That's awesome. Logan, Adam. But I mean, I've gone as far as I built this tower over the garage that has overwatch, that we have thermal and we have IR. We can cover this place, and we capture weird things. We capture a lot of audio, but damn, the camera can't be at the right place. I don't understand how these things know where their camera's looking, but they do. Our best footage was the first couple nights. We did all the camera installs. Logan's from Texas. He hadn't flown home yet to be able to turn the back end on to record. Homeowner woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, opened up with the app, and from one of those positions I identified that they watch from, I'll tell you, this heat signature 350 feet away, you can't tell me that's not a Bigfoot. Did a screenshot of it. So that first couple nights, we're able to trick them, even with the thermal, only because she grabbed screenshots. But Logan wasn't able logistically to get back home to turn the data on. And now that the data's running, we're capturing a lot of weird things, but we need more people looking at it. I don't make anything from selling this app. We need help. And if people want to look at something live, and I'll tell you, right around bedtime, it's the time to look, because I've been there so many times. These things, you know that they're watching the house. They can tell the routine that we're getting ready to go to bed, and that's when they start slapping the house, or they'll do it in the middle of the night. Nothing negative has ever happened there. They have an outdoor cat that I swear they have a relationship with, and that they pet. They've got blinds. There was a tornado that went through, kind of grazed things, and all this brush was pushed back, and you see them that they've slowly modified this blind that I can go stand in there, and Dave Wargo walks by, and I'm talking to him. He's like, "Where the hell are you?" I'm 10 feet away from you. I can stand in here and watch everything. And we're getting heat signatures. There's actually down low, we'd always, even before we had the live stream there, I'd get this football shaped heat signature low. I couldn't figure out what that was. Well, I'd get in this blind. I get down on my hands and knees. Where's this little porthole that they look through? So all you're seeing is the heat of their face. The footprints that we had recently, the snow on the front porch. The front porch is like, I don't know, 10 by 10. And there's a wheelchair ramp off of it. And there's a Wise camera up on the gutter. It gets great audio. These things, and it points at that wheelchair ramp, but these things know the field of view of that camera. They'll come up to that wheelchair ramp, boom, 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 and slap that ramp just out of view. And just recently, some observation.
What location is this happening in? Is this up in your area in New York or down in Pennsylvania?
This is the one down Pennsylvania, Forest County.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Forest County. Yep.
I love that area.
Oh, yeah. There's all sorts of stuff.
Well, real quick, after the last event, because you were up there too, and after the event was all said and done, I spent like the day before. Before I came home, I actually was in one of the nearby forests. It was pouring out heavy rain, but I spent as much time up there as I could.
It rain.
Yeah, I went in the forest and explored around the best I could. While it was fluctuating. The rain was light, and then it got real heavy and heavy winds. And see, I better get out of here because I'm in my little car. Be my luck, a tree come down, and I'm stuck because there was nobody out there. out
Right,
in the middle of nowhere.
right. I'd walked over to you. You probably don't remember, but it was during that rain. 'Cause I knew you were there, and I wanted to meet you and
Yeah,
say
because
hi.
Tara was helping me out, and she was
Yeah,
helping
Tara.
you
Yeah,
out. So yeah.
yeah, right,
Yep.
right.
So
I always want to do at that event, that day after, cruise around town, just sit, park somewhere, and thermal around all those garbage cans and stuff.
no, yeah. I
Those
mean, I've heard a lot of
they
stories from
come
that area.
close.
Yeah, I've heard some of the
Oh,
stories I've heard there because that was the second time I've been there. I spoke a couple years before that, and I've heard I had more people telling me a couple years prior to that event, this past event. So many people tell me, well, this direction over here, this has happened down here. Well, over in this direction, this happened over here. I thought, whoa, this place is surrounded by it. That's what
when
it
I'm at
sounds like.
that event, uh, I'll show my evidence. I wish people would allow me to run a camera. I sit there and I listen,
Right.
and
Oh, yeah.
they're all local people. A lot of Pittsburgh people have camps there, but it's an environment. It's okay, and I'm just all day long like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, just listening and hearing the same patterns of behavior. It's all over that area. It's,
Oh, yeah.
where the Cook Forest is right there. And I'll tell you what. Well, actually, JP SOB, Seeking Ontario's Bigfoot, has trademarked. They're closer than you can think, and he's right. I believe these creatures are closer to us in our homes and live off of us more than what we have any idea. Any idea.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a very interesting area. Uh, so, yeah, real quick, there's a couple things I want to bring up before. Well, I'm anxious to talk about the light, but before we get into
Yeah,
that, yeah, we're going to get into that very shortly. But I wanted you to bring up. You had another Bigfoot sighting. While we were talking when we were on the phone, you started telling me about one that you described more as a juvenile with the long
yeah,
arms that didn't swing. I wonder if
yes,
you could kind of bring us up on that.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I got a little prop that I was supposed to bring out. You want to talk amongst yourselves a second? Let me go get my little
Yeah, go
prop.
ahead, and do what you got to do.
All
So
right.
yeah. So David, David and Melissa, while we're waiting on him to gather what he's going to bring up, yeah, what's your take on all this so far?
Interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, I like how in depth he gets into his research
Mm-hmm.
for that, to collect the evidence that is the way he's been going about it. It's pretty impressive.
yeah, I find it fascinating myself because not many. I mean, there's others that do stuff like this. Um, yeah, I mean, this goes to show you, yeah, he's pretty detailed on, and prepared. What do we got here, Todd?
So this is so ironic. So I stopped at a garage sale. This is the day before going down and had my sighting. I bought this antique secretary's desk. And this thing was sitting there at the garage sale. But throw that in, we got a deal. So I drove down there with this thing on my dash. I'm looking at its butt. Ironically, this is very similar to the sighting I had. And I know that could be mental priming, but to me, what's significant is the differences of what I observed when I saw this juvenile. You see the sway back that your gorillas will do?
Oh
This
yeah,
creature did not do a sway back. When it was bent, its back was straight like ours. And when I saw it running off, quartering away, the shoulders were even wider than the shoulders of an ape. I mean,
yeah,
it was like it had football pads on with football pads on. And when it had went to go over this, that area had been logged, and this old treetop, went to go over it, branches broke, startled it. The hair on its shoulders stood up. The pileoerection, and it already had these goofy bowling ball shoulders, but it scared it because as it was plowing through over this treetop and it broke, startled it, and to see that hair just stand up on end was incredible. And when you research videos of apes and stuff, and when they're chesting off each other and stuff, you'll see them do the pileoerection. However, the hair of the shoulders were longer and stood right up. It was like animatronic.
Yeah, the way you described the very wide, broad shoulders, I could relate to that with my 2014 car that me and 5 others shared. The tall, long story short,
Disproportionate.
yeah, the tallest one had wide, broad shoulders, and it didn't look like it had a neck because the head looked like it was sitting on top of these very wide, broad shoulders. So
Well, so when I saw it, much of the period, I didn't see any head, and that's what I was telling you. What went through my head was like, that's why they call them no head.
yeah,
You couldn't see the head, and then everyone
or no neck. Some of them might say, yeah.
Yeah, I'd see a little bit of the head bob, but it mostly moved like this. But what was compelling to me, I saw every locomotion except the spider crawl and just your regular bipedal because of the terrain and stuff and what it was doing. There was a burst of kind of a knuckle running, and there was a burst of when it wasn't knuckle running. And what was really, really unique that I think so was, let's see if I angle this camera down. Through the period of time when it ran, its arms just hung in front of it. As we're humans, we're going like this. It just hung in front of it until it came to ground that it needed it. And where I lost sight of it, interesting, was where a month later where I found the I've been told by definition it's called a nest. To me, I call it a bed.
Yeah.
This is like a nursery area.
The way you describe the walk, the arms, everything, I know a lot of people won't agree to this. I mean, this is just my honest opinion. It sounds, very primate-like. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely. Somebody had lost a billy ape that had football pads on with artificial hair to make the shoulders even bigger. Still looking for that person that lost that billy ape. I'll tell you what I observed too that was really interesting was this is where I think my hair samples come from, is the longer hair, just like we would have as Indians or long hunters, the suede hanging to wick the water off of us. Had the long hair there, but this back muscle, this back strap was just so thick, but it was perfectly groomed, like lovingly, like just before that, it was laying on its mother's lap, and it was parting its hair on its spine, perfectly grooming it. And then everything else was shaggier than hell. And I found where it was sitting was on another log, treetop, and it was sitting. So kind of imagine sitting at a high top bar table chair. So you're elevated, and your feet are elevated, and the bark was worn off of it, right? The shape of the butt. I sat right up on that. Bark was worn off. My feet were, and it got me like 3 feet up in the air when I sat there, and I was like, "What the hell can it see?" So I pulled that beech nut limb down in front of me. Well, there's my four-wheeler. I parked my four-wheeler where I had my sighting, and being a hunter, and I'll ground hunt a lot, and things always look different. And if you need to double back and track, I've learned a long time ago, where I make my shot, I make a mark on that ground so I can go back and retrace, to find my blood trail. So I drew this line exactly where I was standing, and I parked my four-wheeler on that spot. When I pulled that limb down, all I could see was my four-wheeler. And I thought what was really cool too was the point of view was quartering away. And what we threw, nobody walks this freaking road. We were just incidentally looking for tracks. What it would do in that perch is, after the farmer or the gas company would drive, just after they drive by, pull that down that limb and watch, just like we would like as a hunter, that quartering away shot. And so this ties to the lights, these freaking lights. There was an event the night prior. That's a whole nother story. But here we are. We're looking for tracks. We're the other fellow that's traumatized. We're letting him sleep in the camper because of what happened to him that night. We're walking this road. It's a dead end. It's a private road. But it is maintained by the gas company, and so the farm is up there, and it's dead end. And we're looking for tracks, and we get to this spot where I had filmed that winter this ball of light in the woods, and in particular, it was more of an incandescent color, more of a yellow color, as opposed to the other ones were more of a whitish blue green tint sometimes to them. And the fellow I was with, I stopped, and it's like, "Hey, remember this winter? I sent you that video. This is where it was." And I pointed over there. Well, I see this limb pop up. And as a hunter, you look around, nothing else is moving. And then I see under the scaffold of the trees, I see the four legs moving along. And the guy's with me. I'm trying to get his attention without taking my eye off it. To show him there's a bear right there, and he's going to pop out in a second. I don't want to say anything. I'm not taking but my buddy had actually stepped off and turned, so I'm like scooping air, but I'm not taking my eyes off of him. And then it came out in that opening, and it knew it was in that opening, and that's when it bursted. I'll tell you, there was an inky purplish sheen, a couple spots of sunlight that hit it. I had this really powerful laser, and so later marked the spot. I took my buddy, gave him a survey stake, some survey tape, walked him in, laser. I painted the spot where I saw him, stake it, go in and look. We're going to find prints in there because it's a spring there, and this is May. It's dry as shit in there. There's no prints, but there's all these tree bows and tree breaks, and they're small. And it looks like a nursery. And then that's when we find the perch. And on that perch, actually down the log further, and this is a log that's like 3 foot thick, was this big round spot. You can tell where Mama sat and wore the bark off and had the patine. But it disappeared into this thicket within the woods. And I went to go in there, and it was like I couldn't pierce it. And I got to admit, there was something in my gut told me not to go in there. So I went down there a month later, and I was going to collect that perch where its ass and where its feet was. And I'd marked it with survey tape. I'd get in there. It's all destroyed. It's all busted, like 18-inch pieces. It's like, shit. What am I gonna? How am I gonna collect this without contaminating it? I got to rethink it. And it's starting to get dark. I leave. I go up to the machine shed, up to the farm. Now I'm driving out, and as I'm approaching that spot, I notice over by that same spot, it's dark now. It was like somebody had just poured a bunch of lighter fluid on a campfire and lit it on fire. All of a sudden, the woods, all the leaves, everything was glowing and stuff. It's like, what the hell? And I shut the truck off, and these modern vehicles, it takes a while to kill everything. Immediately get the phone out the window recording, and of course, it flipped the screen, and I recorded my palm, but I narrated what I saw. This glowing fire turned out to be these 3 like cantaloupe balls of light came out exactly from where this perch was. And it's in this low spot, comes out over the road, and perfectly separated distance over the road. The 3 of them, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet chest high off the road, perfectly spaced. They stopped. Those 3 balls of light. That's in the David Paulides movie. They did their artistic creation. And they had them twirling and doing stuff. No, they were in a perfect line. To me, that's what was more impressive. And I'm watching it. It's not moving. It's freaking me out. Now I take my 10 mic, stick it under my thigh. I'm hearing things out each my window in it, and I'm like, there's no other way out. I'm getting off this hill. So I fired that Cummings up. I took traction control off. I put the 4-wheel drive on, put it in tow mode, put my foot on the brake, turned the turbo up. The lights are on. Those things are still there. And I let go and hit let her eat. I'm driving through this, over it, or whatever. As I come running down through this, in this perfect line, move out through the forest, and then that's where the valley is, and they go out over the valley.
Todd, are you familiar with the Forbes State Forest, Mount Davis Division?
No.
Okay, it's more there's 2 different divisions of the Forbes State Forest. Some of it branches more into the Somerset area, and then you have, I think it's all Somerset because, long story short, the Mount Davis division is closer to Myersville, Pennsylvania, and I just want to throw this out there for those listening. Anyone who's heard me talk about my lights that I've experienced 2 years ago, my first time I've ever experienced lights took place in Pennsylvania, in 2 different locations, about 3 months apart. The first set of lights where it looked like a bunch of little stars, glittering, flashing, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
There was like these were in more of a cluster. There was red and blue, more blue than anything. There was a couple of yellows, a couple of reds. 3 months later, in the May, I seen 4 lights that I would describe as blue round balls of like dimmish blue balls. Now these ones weren't in a straight line. They were they were stationary. They weren't moving, but they were like kind of up and down, spread apart a little bit, across from where me and the others that were camping with us. Tara was there. I don't know if anyone else witnessed them, but I went and, after watching them. I was like, "What the heck is that?" I went and told the others, like, "Guys, come over here and look at it." By the time we came back up there, I didn't notice them no more. But that was in, yeah, Tara was part of that camp out we were at, and
So
that was
I'll
interesting.
these balls of light. That I have so many videos. I've seen them so many times. I have a lot of experience with them. I never had that kind of experience, and that's what spooked me. That was totally a message to me. And to bring this full circle, the I'll come back to the lights more, but the next day I come back. So I got myself some really wide freezer paper so I could cleanly wrap up these suspected chunks of the log where the perch was to try to do a scraping. Well, I'd gone in a different way because of all the thorns, and I saw that tree break, and it's like, I think I went too far. I wanted to take a right, and I went in there, and that's when I discovered the bed. And that bed is incredible. And I collected the whole thing. They about 6 feet away, they had an area a couple yards wide of where they did the group scat, just two sizes scat. There was huge and small. I collected it. Apes will poop in a group. And it was just outside the bed. The hair that gave me, and what was really special. Pay attention to this. I don't know why they do it, but apes will do the same thing in Africa where they have ferns like our ferns. They'll pick several ferns and they'll lay on them. I don't know if it does something for the bug, but you'll see in my video, you can see different ages of these ferns. And you can tell some were slept on the night before. And they pick them and they put them down and they bed on them. Apes do the same thing. And I collected that entire nest. And it's a long video. And it's given great evidence. I passed it off to Doug. And I'll tell you one thing I did that I was glad I did was when I found this, I started recording on my phone, and I kind of laugh at myself. I sound like a kid. I'm like, oh, look at this, oh, look at this, oh, look at that, oh, look at this. And what I noticed in the spot too was it had a unique acoustic benefit. In other words, as I'm in there, I got a Cummins truck, and the farmer has all Cummins. You know the sounds of the Cummins. I can hear it coming up the hill. So it was the farmer's son, and I quickly go back out to the road. I want to show him that. And I wait, and wait, and wait, and I wait, and it's the sun. And I'll tell you, the sun's coming. You drag race that or beat any Corvette. So this young fella doesn't come up that hill slow. It's like, stop. What took you so long? No, in that position, I could hear all the way down the valley, about 2.5 miles away. I could hear him coming. So there was a forewarning to it. So he's the one that videographed me collecting this. So the lights led me to the Bigfoot sighting, which led me to the net. The lights are right near that position. I call it the curve. And I have been down there every single month. And every time I look for those lights, I was down there 6 weeks ago. Those lights are there every time. About 30, 40 minutes after sunset. I don't know why that matters. They're in the same acreage. I'm having more problems recording them now because it's been logged off. So it's that secondary growth. So when David Pilates was there, because he wanted to see the lights, and I told him, it's like the foliage. I don't know. We'll see them. I brought some ladders and mounted them, put them in my truck, so I could see over the foliage. We couldn't see them. We had lots of good other events happen. But they're there every time. And I have some. I sent you a video. It's a blob squat. It's 220 yards away. These are binoculars. It looks like it's creature. It looks like it's the profile of the creature. You know, you got the unique profile, but it looks like it slightly turns. There's like 3 or 4 videos, and it looks like it just turns a little bit. But that ball of light at this blob spot starts right where it's asking.
Yeah, Todd, I want to share this one video I have of the light. You have a light. This one here. The way I edited it before I uploaded it on here, and so I could show it multiple times.
Okay.
It's still I still made it short, but where I want to make sure I did it to where I showed it the original footage. I also shared it where I zoomed in on it a little bit. So
I've been dying for somebody to take these 3 videos of it, overlay them, stabilize them, and show the thing turning. But I say this jokingly, but yet seriously, it looks like it's farting a ball of light.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, here's the original footage.
Yep, that's right. It doesn't look like it's farting an orb. My God. And it looks like it turns and goes, that was a good one.
Yeah, because I zoomed in on this part right here. Look at this. Yeah.
So that was about 220 yards from us.
Okay.
So we did have the benefit of a little bit of a moonlight and a little bit of snow that enabled us. And fortunately, the guy running the IR for me was like just a week out. He was an SF guy, and he knew how to use this. He's very stable.
Yeah, I'm just playing it again just for the heck of it right here. I found it to be very fascinating. This is interesting right here.
So I let David Pilates use this. It's in his video. Those balls of light still appear at the same. Hey, Daniel, you did a really nice job. You did a nice job with that. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I just wanted. Yeah, I mean, I could have done a lot more, but I didn't want to overdo it. If I zoom in too much, then it probably would have been the story really.
So I got like 3 of them at different times that would be neat to overlay, because I swear the thing like just turns a little bit, you know. And when we saw the thing standing there at the time, but we didn't say it was a Bigfoot. Trevor running the camera, he's like, it looks like somebody's standing there. And we just left it at that. But these balls of light, I have other videos on my channel that are incredible. So this is what I'm doing. we set up on this curve. I have an EMF detector. I have my digital game mirrors. So, some observations. Maybe I wasn't looking over towards the balls of light, but the digital game mirror, I might get a static, and I would look over, I would see the ball of light. I can't say that made the interference, but I wear those things all the time. And the only other time it does that is when I'm deer hunting and I got my cell phone right up here close to me because I'm cold and I'm getting a text message. That wasn't the way. So I have my phone set up, TK Scout, thermal, the IR that you saw, and our naked eye. 4 mediums looking at the same thing. My observations are this blew my mind. This is Devin that's with me, and he's another military operator. These aren't children, and he's like, I'm like, oh, there's a ball of light. Are you getting it? He's looking through this. He goes, no, there's 5 of them. And I'm looking at my phone, and my phone, oh yeah, my phone's seeing 2 of them, but I'm looking with my naked eye, I see 1 of them. But the IR was picking up lights that we were not seeing at all. The TK Scout, I was able to grab a few stills of a black ball moving, so an absence of heat, but it might have been out of the capability range because this is about 220 yards away. Some other interesting observations. So on this curve, we're elevated. There's a hill between us. Down below is like a soccer field. It's a logging land. Well, I drive down there, set up all the gear. Those lights would never come on. Nothing would happen. Pack all the shit up, go back up to the curve, the lights come back. I did that over and over. And here's the craziest thing, too. So we left the gear running down there. Audio, the camera, cold, snowing. We go down to Genesee, Pennsylvania, get some coffee and stuff. So it's about an hour. The file stopped like 9 or 11 minutes after we left, and the files, audio and the video, restarted 9 or 11 minutes before we came. You could hear my comments pull up and things would start. And it captured nothing. But if we backed off to that curb, they'd display. So now, here we are. I've been doing this since 2014. I have to stand off even a little bit further for them to come out. Some of the other strange things I've seen while recording these balls of light.
Yeah, real quick, there's a question. They want to know where the footage of the light that we just shown. Where was that filmed at? Is being asked.
It's gonna be like at the border of Allegheny County, New York, and Potter County, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Because I gotta protect that guy too, because he still lets me do my stuff there. But I gotta protect him.
Oh, yeah, so, that's totally understandable.
What's unique about this curve is I have tried to observe those lights from other places. They're not visible. There's no point of view from anywhere else. Across the valley is where we originally saw them. Looking back, we counted 43 of them, and it takes about 20 minutes to drive around the hills, around back up the valley, and the only tracks in the road were my tire tracks frozen, and I got out to take a leak. The boys had fallen asleep, and my truck had toolboxes, so when you look out the back window, you're only seeing straight out the back window. And they didn't see these balls of light. And you're familiar with this. They seem to be intelligent. They'll go around things. They don't cast enough glow for how bright they are. So, like when they pass a tree, they only illuminate a little bit of it. But yet it looks like somebody's MIG welding or arc welding. I don't know if you ever welded, but it's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, I see welding every day at work.
Okay.
Where I work, yeah, well, we have a welder. He's constantly welding at work. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's what it reminds me of. But it doesn't give off enough light.
Right.
I've seen green columns of light come off that hill. Just columns of my 87-year-old dad would come out with me, and he has seen them. And I'll have to say, if you were driving that curve with your headlights on, you would have seen them. But sitting in the truck paying attention, I've seen flashes of light. I've seen the area just take on this green hue, and I don't know where the light source is, but as you look around, it'll only be on, the reflective side of the tree. So it's somewhere there. But one of the most compelling things that really freaked me out was had a friend with me from church, real skeptic, Matthew Sargent, and we're watching the balls of light. Looks up, she goes, "Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" I go, "Yep." And that's how long it happened. It looked like if you took a dinner plate and just put it in the sky, and it was this hole with a beveled edge to it, and it was bigger than the moon would be in the sun. I couldn't tell you how far away it was, but it was big, but it appeared for the length of time, like she said, "Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" Yup. And boom, it went out. If I gotta say, if I ever saw a portal, that was a portal. I'm not saying it was a portal, but that would be my guess.
Yeah, I want to ask David what's his thoughts on what we shared a little while ago. I mean, because me and David, we witnessed seeing a light here in Virginia. During one of our expeditions, our campouts, and of course, the light we seen doesn't compare to what we just showed a little while ago. But we did see a strange round ball of light, and based off of what we shared here, I just want to get David's take on that. I mean, David, what do you feel on that?
Well, some of the characteristics I find intriguing. I mean, is what was seen on the video. It like was flickering a little bit, and that could be due to atmospheric conditions and the distance and so on and so forth. And being at nighttime, we'd seen ours at nighttime. It was a pure white light, roughly 6 to 8 inches diameter, about 40 yards from us, 3 to 4 foot off the ground. It was at nighttime, around 10 o'clock at night, between 9:30 and 10. We were heading back to camp for another reason. And I don't know how long it was there before I'd seen it, but we had enough ambient light in the woods to where you can make out shadows and stuff like
Right.
that. We got to a clearing, then I seen the light. And I looked at it for about maybe 2 seconds, and Daniel was behind me. I got Daniel's attention. He looked over there, and he's seen the same light, and it was pure white, round. It didn't emulate light. It didn't throw any light.
Right.
It wasn't moving around at all.
It's like you're looking perfectly at somebody with a spotlight always perfectly on you.
And it didn't hurt your eyes or anything like that by looking at it. It didn't light us up like it was a flashlight for somebody. And when Daniel seen it, when I got its attention, about a couple of seconds after that, it just flared up a little bit and then went out. It was gone. And the total time we probably both of us had our eyes on it 4, maybe 5 seconds at the most. I mean, it happened like that. And we got our thermals out, looked at it, that spot from a couple of different areas and stuff to try to pick up any other heat signatures and stuff like that. No wildlife, nothing in the area. Everything was normal radiant heat left in the trees and stuff like that, but nothing to indicate there was a light source remaining, a heat source remaining from that light being there. We don't know what caused it. We don't know where. That's my first time ever experiencing anything like it. I've seen it on TV. I've seen videos on TV.
If you're seeing one of those lights, get your phone right on it. Because one thing I've noticed is again, I literally set all this stuff up, and for example, my naked eye might see one light, my iPhone might see 2 lights, and the IR is 5 of them at the same spot.
Right,
and
but
you actually see them all come together and make this huge flash. If you go to my video channel,
and that's practical.
You gotta go to the bottoms. One of my earlier postings.
If you can identify a location where you see them on a regular basis, I mean that's great to be able to set something like that up. But
clockwork,
for us, it happened.
I'm not kidding, clockwork.
Yeah, but see, with us, we're out hiking. We're out hiking and everything, and it's hard to keep all your equipment that you have on you when you're out in the woods after dark hiking. Try to capture every minute. Now, if we knew that location was going to be active all the time, we could set equipment up like that. But this happened we wasn't expecting it, and it happened too quick for us to even get any equipment on.
Yeah, without
right.
You know, but I mean, that was my first experience with that. Hopefully, I'll have some more.
This hillside, there's a certain constant acreage that they always appear, and then sometimes outside of that. And then the one that led to my Bigfoot sighting was because I actually, we were getting ready to go. I turned around to take a leak and saw the one behind me, which led me to my Bigfoot sighting. And one thing I have observed, and correlation is not causation, but the ones that have, other than that one video, that have led more to a Bigfoot related is when they were that yellowish incandescent. However, there's the video that you see where it's not the yellowish. This place is amazing, and I wish I could get somebody to come down with better gear than I have to zoom in. My Bigfoot budget, if I was married, my head is already on a stake in the front yard for other husbands to see. But I know that there's other people with better gear, and I like go this time of year. That's why like that video is a little shaky because it's 10 degrees. The truck was running, and when you saw the thing, he put his elbows on the truck, which is good. But when you're zooming out 220 yards, there's that little bit of shake, from the engine room.
Yeah, Todd, a couple things real quick. Now, next month in March, I'm coming up to Pennsylvania to meet up with a good friend of mine. We're going to do an investigation where he has found some very mysterious tracks that he's been working. So hopefully, weather works out. I'll be up there again next month. But yeah, I'm just curious. You don't have to give me the location here publicly. Maybe send me the location where you're talking about. And if it works out, if maybe there's a possibility. I can't say right
Yeah,
now because I don't. Send me the information, and I might be able to set something up.
I would have to take you there, and I would love to.
Yeah, like I said, it depends on the distance
It's
and everything, and
it's
my scheduled time I can take off. So yeah,
the especially where this curve is. Uh, People are funny there. There's a whole other story. I mean, I might have been known as the guy that put Dave Pilates in jail. I mean, we almost got in a fucking shootout there.
oh wow, yeah,
People are the scariest things, and we were watching those balls of light. It's a whole other story. Um, we you look at a man and you turn to go like this to say, clear to shoot somebody. Sticks in your brain for a little while. It's like this guy was possessed in the middle of nowhere. And there's details I'd like to give you. And David had something he shouldn't have had. But I didn't want to be the only one at night that had. You know what I mean? And and this guy got a hold of Dave 3 times. Three that 7 yards, boom, boom, hockey style by the collar, pull him in. David defaulted to his training, busted out and around it. But meanwhile, he's like this with his rod, with something that I warned him 3 times. This guy got a hold of him. And there was no reason for any of this. I probably shouldn't say anything more. But holy shit. That's all I can say. Holy shit. And a lot of respect to Dave's training. I couldn't have broken that hold. I have some experience dealing with people. I used to bartend, so small bar. You kind of had to handle things yourself. It's I ain't a big guy. I ain't a fighter. You talk your way out of stuff. And this guy grabbed whole. You can tell I got a lot I want to say. One wonders. It was all. It's like this guy was possessed dealing with him, and he was a monster of a man. He was a mountain of a man, and every time I talked to him, the conversation was brand new. Like nobody's home. Couldn't smell any alcohol. I had no understanding of anything, and I'm pretty good at that stuff. I'm really reaching saying this, but somebody told me that, proposed this idea that this guy was possessed by Bigfoot because of what we were doing. I don't know that, but that made me stop and think. But I'll tell you, in the moment when I was dealing with this guy, and then what he was doing with Dave, it was like he was possessed. And I'll tell you, Dave's muscle memory training went into action, and he broke that hold 3 different times. So I had a 10 mm on my chest, and I was afraid to start reaching over, and and I shouldn't say anymore.
Yeah, it definitely sounds pretty intense. I gotta say that it does sound intense.
It's one of those Bigfoot things that are like whiskey tango foxtrot. Yeah, right by where the balls of light are. Oh, hey, anybody ever say anything about like the predator sound effect? Not just the predator action, but the predator sound effect, that guttural, the that guttural clicking. I can't do it, but it was just like it was not a buck. Trust me, I know, because I saw the eyes in the tree when I heard it come down the tree like a fireman's pole, and started making this just like the predator sound effect. Not exactly, but as close. And you guys were talking last night on the show about the esophagus and that clicking, and then when that one moved off, the other one I didn't know who was right in front of me started doing it, and it had like a different voice, like it was a younger one. And once that one did that, the other one came stringing back. Have you ever heard anybody say that?
Not exactly. I mean, I've heard of. Now you mentioned clicking sound. I've heard people talking about clicking sound.
Just like the predator sound effect. In
Yeah,
fact,
I mean, no one's ever described it as that, but I've heard people talking about the clicking sound.
so as that one, the original one, it came down the tree and then moved away so fast. And then the one right in front of me, and it was pitch black. I couldn't see anything. I'd go to grab my phone, and just that little bit of that blinded me, and that scared the shit out of me. Deer off in the field, a couple hundred yards away, started blowing. That predator sound effect that they'll make, that in response to that. So when I was with David Pilates sitting on the curve trying to film those lights, I'd asked him, has he ever had any report of that? He goes, no. Oh, well, about 1:30, he goes, go pick up my camera guy, who I put him up on a tree stand that was hopefully would have filmed down to where those lights were. That's what he experienced, was that. And that's on my YouTube channel, him explaining that. And this guy was like some kind of martial arts fighter. Um, when we were dealing with the crazy dude, we needed him, but he was up in the tree stand with the camera, and he said he recorded that, but those guys didn't do anything with it, because I was trying to understand the sound that he heard, and as I was driving him off the hill, I stopped and I thought, that predator sound effect. I stopped my UTV. I looked up the predator sound effect. I played that for him. He just about jumped out of the seat. He's like, that is as close to the sound. And you'll see that on my YouTube channel where I interview him and he talks about that predator sound effect.
Wow. Hey, Todd, we're
Somebody
gonna have to.
else.
Yeah, we need to have you back on here for sure. We can go on. There's a lot more I'm thinking about, and there's a lot more I know we could discuss and talk about for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Uh, Plus, I want to consider. I know David's got another podcast to jump on here at 11. So,
Okay.
It'll be a
yeah,
long night.
yeah,
Yeah, I haven't really gotten into like what's going on with our current location at the R&R study site. It's getting weird over there. I just want these things to be just a damn dirty ape. You know,
yeah.
I used to be a ghost hunter way back when. I used to volunteer at a museum. Um, I don't want anything to do with that stuff. Uh, these things got some skills that are unusual.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe that. Real quick, Todd, I want to give you before we jump off here. Do you have any last words you want to share to the audience that you might want to share real quick?
I believe in the tree structures. Uh, you gotta when you see one, you need to look around for others. So when they'll support one another, then it's possibly a structure, and you can actually follow them. But you gotta do boots on the ground. These things live closer to us than we could think, and I think there's more of these creatures around than we have any idea. I think they're doing okay. I think they got everything they need.
I agree.
Well, I appreciate your passion for you wanting to collect the evidence and how you go about doing it and
Yeah,
I
preserving
like
I
it.
like
collecting
that.
the evidence.
Uh,
It's awesome that you do that. Yeah.
yeah, I I think that needs to be done more by more people out there, and I know you've given us. I know Daniel's been doing footcasts and stuff like that when it comes to crossing, but I've got a little bit of a kit in my bag to where for like hair sample collections if something came about, but we need to get into the actual print lifting
Oh,
type aspect.
oh,
And
pay attention to your vehicle. So when you
No,
go
yeah.
off, like you're doing an investigation, you park your
absolutely.
car. Uh, the prints I have on my vehicle. So I was showing people last night. So I got that one Cummings for sale, and the guy's coming out from a creeper from underneath my truck. You know, I kind of giggle because
Yeah.
his hand right where there's a handprint on the running board. So like the powder coating, it really sticks to that. Plastic, fiberglass. So these things are curious about our vehicles. So don't just check your windows. And you got to think, 4 dimensions. You're
Hmm.
curious about the underside. I think they know the value of our catalytic converters. And they might be trying to steal them. That's my friend Dave Wargo's joke because we think we caught him. Well, actually, it went out his side of the truck. But literally, when there's handprints from underneath your truck this way, and if you didn't have your truck in the shop, and you know you weren't under your truck with a creeper pulling out, these things they're under your vehicle because they're interested in everything. Uh, and uh, your flashlights, lay hard angle to the lights. You look more than once in the different lighting conditions, and don't be afraid of the prints. You can put anything on them. You can put dust, dirt. You put tape on them. You can rub it hard. You can lift it. They're durable. Um, my Ford truck cap that handprint, that's still on there. And I sold it to the fella after he paid me for it. I told him, you got an extra bonus. You got a Bigfoot handprint. He thought it was cool. And that print was made September 23rd, 2023. And I've lifted it. It's in my collection. There's a video of me lifting it. I've used rubbing compound on it. It keeps coming back. But that's fiberglass. Painted metal parts are a little more resistant, but I've noticed the powder coating, any of your plastic or fiberglass trim in your glass windows, pay attention. Pay attention. They're curious.
I believe that. Absolutely.
Yep.
Todd, I can't thank you enough, and
Thank
I
you.
promise you. Well, we're gonna have you back. That's for sure. I
Sounds
really.
good. Well, I'd love to go do some boogering with you guys.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
Come
the
on
invitation's open. You come down in May. Our next group campout's in May.
Sounds good. I love. I mean,
You're
I know what I
self-employed.
know.
You make your own schedule.
Right. I know what I know from experience, but what got me there is what I learned from other people and their encounters. I listen to everybody. I may not agree with them, like the red self-illuminating eyes. No way. Well, tell you what. Yes, they do. Can't tell you how, but they do. So my point being is it's a fun field. I've made so many friends, and I enjoy the people, and I enjoy learning from everybody. And the more I learn, the less I know.
And that's part of why we do these podcasts too. I mean, we love hearing other people's stories and accounts to collaborate with ours. There's information that we've experienced ourselves with our research and our outings, and when we hear the stories and the details from others, it's like kind of lights up our eyes sometimes when we hear certain details. Because they're like, hey, we can relate to some of that. And so is the viewers. There's people that are listening, and they listen because, hey, wait a minute, maybe they
It's
might know something that we don't.
therapeutic.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's therapeutic. It is because it blows your mind. You're like, oh my God, am I losing it? Did I just experience this?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. So,
Well, there's a lot out there we don't know what's going on that we're seeking the answers for, and it is fun, and you meet a lot of people along the way, and hopefully those that don't get out in the field learn something from those that are out there. I mean, we can't definitely say one way or the other what we're encountering, but
That's right.
Once you experience it, it's not going to let go, and you just keep going back, and
there's traumas that play in my head every day. And seeing that one juvenile is one on my playlist every day of the PTSD. And that's what it does to us, because it shakes our paradigm. And so I asked, I'm Bigfoot New York, Todd, YouTube, subscribe, help me, because I heard if I get over to 1,000 subscribers, I might get a bag of potato chips and a 12. I'd be happy. I'm a simple man.
Well, Todd, it's been a pleasure meeting you, and I want to thank everybody in the chat for being on there for their questions and everything.
And that Bigfoot live stream, we need help with that. We need help. We it's $5 a month. I know that, but we need help. And if you want to be an armchair researcher, you can be one. I mean, that's where the whoops come from and all that stuff. You can capture that. We need help, and you'll get credit for it.
I was paying $5 a month for my cellular camera until it got stolen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't make a dime at it, but it's good research, and it costs Logan a lot of money for this data and everything. And I want to give credit to this R&R site that all of us are working. I want to give credit to my friends, Bill T, Logan, JP, Mary, Dave Wargo, Grandpa Bigfoot.
Awesome.
And if there's anybody else, I'm sorry. But
No, you're
Grandma
good.
Bigfoot rock.
Absolutely. All right, thank you guys very much. Yes, guys.
Good
Keep
night.
watching.
Good
Y'all
night.
take care.
Right. Keep boogering.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Thank you guys again for listening tonight. If you're not subscribed, please be sure to do so. Over the next course of the rest of the month of February, we have scheduled guests coming up every Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got some great guys coming up, great guests. Tonight was awesome. I really appreciate Todd. I can't thank him enough for coming on here, sharing his experiences. As I mentioned earlier, we will have him back. He's got a lot of information. There's a lot more. There's questions I had. It's just, you know, it's going to be awesome. Hopefully, you guys continue to go on with the journey of these podcasts that we got going on. Because right now we're going through the seasonal podcast season right now. They will be coming to an end around the month of March. As the weather progresses and gets better, you're going to be seeing more field videos. You're going to be seeing a lot more research. Because as many know and many do not know, we have the group that we do go out there. We do field investigations. We're filming for our new series that will be streaming soon on Bigfoot Explorers. And also, I myself, I do a lot of investigation and camping on my own. Where there's going to be a series streaming soon called Gone Rogue. It'll be a Bigfoot search series. So please feel free to check that out. Well, I'll be updating everybody when that comes around. Um, Boots on the ground, raw footage, and let me be clear: we do not have a production crew. What you see is what you get. It's raw. It's we don't produce fake research. We don't produce fake evidence. We do not put stuff out there to gather the audience. We're out there having a good time and sharing what we experience and what we find. None of it's made up. We're not expedition big. I mean, yeah, we're not expedition Bigfoot. We're not finding Bigfoot. They're on big. They're on big networks. They do what's necessary to keep the attention of the audience. We're not about that. What you see is what you get. Okay, we're real. We want to share to the audience, to the public, what it's like for people like us. What it's really like going out there and to spend boots on the ground and having a fun time. That's all. That's what we're about. So, Bigfoot Explorers streaming soon. Gone Rogue streaming soon. And if you have questions, if you have techniques or anything you want to experience, or excuse me, I should say, try or experiment with, we're all about it. We're open ears. We got some great guests that will be joining us with our future expeditions and campouts. Because we want people out there to see and learn about the area we're in and what we experience out there. Um, Perhaps the invitation's out there. Uh, we're all about having other people come out there and join us. We're not a big group, nor do we plan to be a big group. So again, we don't have a production crew. We're a laid back group of honest researchers, and we're out there to have a fun time. So, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate everything. I appreciate the followers, the subscribers. For those who are following me on YouTube or Facebook, um, I'm your average Joe. I don't try to be famous. I'm not looking for attention, but I do believe in spreading awareness and letting people know that what what I do. I'm a firm believer in it. I have a passion for the research. I have a passion for sharing the truth. I got some investigations coming up. I have some presentations coming up with some town hall gatherings, and we got February 28th in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Then in March, I got a gathering or an investigation I'm conducting up in Pennsylvania with a good friend of mine, Chadwick Gales. So there's a lot going on, a lot to look forward to, and I'll keep you guys updated to the best of my ability on Facebook, and also I'll make some posts and short videos on YouTube. So continue to follow, support this channel, and for those who are listening and on ECBR Bigfoot Radio, which you can listen on all the on your favorite podcast platforms. Yeah, check out ECBR Bigfoot Radio, because a lot of you guys are new here and not familiar with the podcast. You can browse through the YouTube channel, look up the old podcast, or if you want to just listen to it while you're working or traveling, ECBRO, Bigfoot Radio, is the way to go. So, again, thank you guys very much. Keep it squatchy. Until next time, guys, I'm out of here.